Hi Artlings! We continue digging under the surface of an art exhibit as we talk to another show coordinator from the Journey of Hope art exhibit as she reveals the structure and the evolution of the show, and with an artist who turned an unwanted surprise into a conceptual evolution. I'm Melanie Groovy, and I created this channel expressly for artistic spirits like you, to keep you creating and connecting with your artistic voice, making art that matters. Today we continue with a deeper look at the Journey of Hope art exhibit. We'll discover what makes this show sparkle and how it evolved in our interview with show coordinator Laura Bemis. And then we'll also talk with an artist who took what could have been a terrible mistake and made it something special. Feel her struggle and her ultimate joy. And I'll even weigh in with my own experience in this exhibit. So let's get deep. This is Laura Bemis. She is one of the coordinators for the Journey of Hope, and she not only coordinated, she did 2 pieces of art and she wrote. You obviously have been involved with it from the start, so it's been going on for?
This is the 2nd year we've had this show.
And was the first year as great a success as this has been?
I think we've had more people this time, and what's really nice about this is the Fine Arts Center is putting it up for the whole month, where last year we only had it for a few hours.
That's incredible.
And it makes a big difference because we can have people stop in any time during the month. There's comment cards so they can leave comments, and it's just I think going to be a wonderful show for the whole month. And I just also want to say that it's taken us a year to put this thing together, so it's been a process for quite a while.
You know, all the hard work definitely shows.
Thank you.
Definitely shows. And this is another one of your pieces. What's the name of this piece?
It's called Freedom, and it's a pastel and photograph. So I took a photograph, I desaturated it, and then I colored it my own colors with pastels and did some stippling in it. It was actually an orange butterfly, but I didn't want an orange butterfly, I wanted a green butterfly. So I changed it up and made it a green butterfly.
The amount of detail in that is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I understand the difficulty must have been because fitting all that into the dimensions we had to work under, that's a lot to fit in.
Yeah, 5 by 7. I decided to make it small because 1, there's a size limit, and 2, I didn't want it to be overwhelming, but I wanted it to be intricate and more delicate. And my story is in the booklet. If you get a chance, read it. It's part of I'm writing a book, and it's part of the excerpt from my book.
Oh, Michael, thank you so much for giving us this interview.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Dina. You did 2 pieces here to display your writers' pieces, or their writing. Would you tell us about what your process was for that?
Sure. Zia's story was so deep and painful and all about childhood betrayal. And my story wasn't the same growing up, but I did the betrayal piece triggered me deeply, and the whole story just sunk in real deep. And so I couldn't paint that. So I chose to paint the hope. And so I bought this canvas to stick within the limitations of the size that they said we were supposed to have. And I started painting the hope. And the paints that I use, even 3 drops is too much for a painting this size. So I was painting 3 paintings at the same time. And this one, I was working on experimenting with starting out with a pen, an acrylic paint pen, and then layering the paints on top. And I discovered that it runs. It didn't work at all. And so I was working with the problem solving of how do I work with that and get something that's decent? And so I worked on both at the same time. And when I came to this heart piece, the broken heart in there, I realized that this was her story. And so the two pieces are similar colors because they're from the same, you know, when there was leftover paint here. And this is her journey. And then this is her hope.
Thank you so much, Dina, for sharing.
Thank you.
So my experience in making the art, my process, was I got the written piece in my email, and it was a story and a poem, and I read them over several times, and I slept on it. So I looked for music that seemed to go with the writing, that caught the essence of the writing, and that turned out to be a disc of music by Alan Hovhaness. And then I looked for my paint canvases, those would be my paint spatters, looked for ones that were the right size requirements for the exhibit. And from there, I put on the music and I sat with the canvases and I started looking and listening and looking and listening until I found my image. My writer, Sue Daly, wrote of experiencing childhood abuse, her mother's mental illness, and her own ensuing bipolar illness. In her poem, A Voice at Last, she speaks of a suffocating silence and finally frozen tears melting to an ocean at her feet. She triumphs in the last lines. Stronger I move forward, released from my past. A song rises deep within. I've found a voice at last. And for my overall experience of this event, I have to say I was honored to meet the artists and the writers and the coordinators who were devoted to this project and candid with their life experiences. They made art that matters for an event that matters. Okay, Artlings, now it's your turn. Have you ever had an art material, a tool, a technique that just went wrong? Tell me about it in the comments below. And thank you, Artlings, for spending this time with me. I loved it. And if you like this video, like it with a thumbs up. Click on the thumbs up, yeah. And if you want to keep up with everything that's going on at this channel, press the subscribe button next to my name. Should be right below there. And nothing bad will happen. It will just be in your YouTube menu under my subscriptions when you go there. Makes it easy to find me. And if you're already a subscriber, you're awesome. You keep this community going. And remember, when you create art, you change the world. So don't be afraid to spill a little paint. I'll see you next week. Bye. Oh, hi, Van.
Hi! Hey, what about an interview with me?
Oh, okay. Tell me about your favorite technique.
Finger painting! Wow!